Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today I am finally remaking my review on the Insanity rune. So not many people saw it before I took it down, but it wasn't correct and there was a lot of things that was missing, so I wanted to remake it. Before I hop into that, I do have to give a huge thanks to Mr. Roblox Warrior 187 or GK, whatever you want to call him, because he lended me this rune for this video. Thank you very much, man. Anyways, I want to go over the gear I am using in the background first so you guys get a general idea of how much damage you'll be doing when you use this rune yourself. So I have a level 100 pet for reference, a tier 5 pet gem. I'm using Infinity, I'm using the Gauntlet of Anticipation, I'm using the Jacko Cape, I'm using the Binded Energy of Time, and I'm using the Cape of Pressure. However, sometimes I use the Cloak of Anti-Gravity because really they're interchangeable. Sometimes I prefer to have more crit, while other times I prefer to have more speed and a little extra attack points. So before we hop into the skills, I do want to show off the design. This rune looks fantastic. It looks demonic, it looks evil. Nothing else in the game quite looks like this, and I really think they did a great job. And then also the icon is amazing as well. They really outdid themselves with this one. So what Havoc now does is essentially the exact same thing as before. The lower the health you have, the more damage you do, but every damage point is 25% higher. So when you're at 75% health HP, the original Havoc's stat for that is now 25% higher. So think of this as just a much better version of Havoc. It is just insanely good damage boost on your attacks. Now let's go over the two attack skills. So first, and mainly the best attack skill of this rune in my opinion, is the new Heaven Splitter. What it does is summons a mouth to devour your foes, and it does a big old AoE attack and has a solid 5-second cooldown. This I find to be the most effective attack ability with this rune. I think it is pretty dang decent, and it also does a great job of clearing mobs. Now the other skill it affects is Piercing Strike. Grabs your enemies into insanity. So this is essentially like the Snow Angel and Light Rune's Piercing Strike. It is essentially a beam attack with a 5-second cooldown. Is it good? Yes, but I do not think it's as good as Heaven Splitter. But anyways, let's go over them a little bit more specifically. So I decided to test both of these abilities against the first EOT boss while using both the new Havoc and Calamity. So we'll talk about Piercing Strike first. Piercing Strike is somewhat nice because it does have a little bit of good range, but its actual attack radius width-wise isn't very good. I noticed myself missing the boss several times with this rune, and generally I did not find this ability to be nearly as effective as the Heaven Splitter. It's just not as big of an AoE, and in my opinion it's just a little bit lacking compared to the Heaven Splitter. So now in the Heaven Splitter, as you can see, I'm doing a lot more damage faster, and that's just because I find the Heaven Splitter a lot easier to hit your targets with because it's such a massive radius. It is huge and it's just very easy to hit your target, and I think it is very good at only a 5-second cooldown. So I also decided to test the first EOT boss while using Heaven Splitter, Piercing Strike, and Calamity. This is a pretty safe strategy to use because you don't have to take damage to get that Havoc boost. However, it is definitely slower. Is it viable? I still think so, but I do not think it is the best loadout with this. By far the best skill loadout with this rune, in my opinion. In the comments you can tell me if you think otherwise, but I think Heaven Splitter, Havoc, and Calamity is definitely the way to go with this rune. I decided to mess around in Hive Hardcore with this for fun, and you can see you absolutely shred the boss with this. You just do so much damage, and plus every time you use it you're clearing all of those extra mobs the boss spawns in, and plus it just does so much damage because the Havoc is stronger than a standard Havoc, and then you're still getting that Calamity. Now, I have heard from a lot of people that this rune may get buffed in the future, and if the attack skills get buffed, this can easily have potential to be the best rune in the game in terms of DPS. However, at the moment, I would say the Soul rune in a team setting is better. However, the Insanity rune is fantastic for solo play. It is so good. As you can see in the background, it is a little risky, you know, because you do have to keep your health low, but as long as you have good speed and you know what you're doing, you can really capitalize your DPS output with this. It is just such a fantastic rune to use. Now, I definitely do think the Havoc Calamity Heaven Splitter combo is better than the one with Piercing Strike, because the Piercing Strike, again, it just doesn't have as much of a radius. It is not as AoE, and I just don't think it's as good. I definitely find myself doing a lot better with the Heaven Splitter, because as soon as you use it, you know, there is about a 1 second time where you stop, but then the hand summons and it just kills everything behind you, and you can run away very quickly and then use it again in 5 seconds. So I really do think that this rune has massive potential to become the best rune in the game if it gets buffed more. I would love it to get buffed more, because it would be nice to have, you know, to see a lot more Insanity runes and Soul runes rather than just the Insanity rune. So where this rune really shines is definitely in solo play. It is great in solo play. If you don't have this thing, the other great runes in solo play is like, you know, still the classic Azure with Mooncutters. I definitely do think this is better than Azure with Mooncutters. However, the only difference is you do have to get a little close to the boss. But that is also beneficial because you have to take damage to truly make this rune shine. So is this rune good in team play? Yes, but the most common team strategy is to have as much healing as possible so Soul rune players can do a lot of DPS. That is not beneficial for Havoc players. Yes, you're not going to get healed in Havoc, however, the millisecond your Havoc goes away, there is so much healing going on in team runs that you're just going to get back up to max health and your Havoc won't be useful. So overall, is this rune amazing? Absolutely fantastic for solo play. I always use this in solo play nowadays, and if you don't have one, I definitely suggest you check out my Discord server, because we're giving away one right now. If you're watching this the day of the upload, if you're watching this in a week, I apologize, that is over by now. Anyways guys, that is the gist of it. There is not too much to say other than this rune is a solo king. Great DPS if you're using that improved Havoc and Calamity with Heaven Splitter, and it also looks fantastic. Anyways guys, thank you very much for watching my video, and I will see you later this week with more content. Bye!